Reacher's showrunner shares the surprising story behind that Terminator 2 reference. Reacher Season 2's reference to Terminator 2, Judgment Day, had nothing to do with the casting of Robert Patrick. In the second season of the hit Prime Video series, Patrick, who played the T-1000 in Terminator 2, played the role of Shane Langston, a foe to Alan Ritchson's Jack Reacher. The Season 2 premiere included a cheeky reference to Terminator 2 when Frances Neagley used the alias Sarah Connor, a nod to Linda Hamilton's Terminator franchise character. When he's asked by a henchman, "Who's Sarah Connor?" Patrick Langston replied, "I don't give a shit." It's a stark contrast to the character he played in Terminator 2, where killing Sarah's son was the T-1000's sole objective. Per TV-Line, showrunner Nick Santora revealed that the Terminator 2 reference was not written into the show because of Robert Patrick's casting. Santora wanted to make it clear, noting how everyone thinks we're so smart and funny for doing it, but that the Sarah Connor line was in there before Robert Patrick came in. "I don't want to lie, and that's the truth." Santora explained how the line was even in the script with another actor set to play the role. Originally, Langston was going to be played by Rory Cochrane, but Robert Patrick took over the role after Cochrane dropped out. Santora further explained how it was a total coincidence that Patrick just happened to then land the role that played into the reference to Terminator 2. "He's such a hard worker, and he's so freaking talented, and I don't know why, but he just jumped in," Santora said, commenting on how Patrick very quickly boarded Season 2 of Reacher despite the short notice. Santora then shared how he actually kind of forgot about the Sarah Connor line, but then when I was getting the dailies, I was like, oh man, the Terminator 2 line was nearly cut. Not only was the line a coincidence, Patrick's casting had Santora considering having it cut, as the connection to Terminator 2 was perhaps a bit too obvious. However, he ultimately opted to keep the line, figuring that fans might appreciate the fun nod, which turned out to be the case. "I really did have a thought. If I'm being 100% truthful, do I need to cut this line? Because it's a phone call, so I could have easily put something else in Seropian's mouth and just show the other side of the call. But I figured that fans might enjoy it. It's such an iconic movie franchise, and Robert Patrick is such an iconic actor, so let's have a little fun." The first 2 seasons of Reacher are streaming on Prime Video. Season 3 does not yet have a premiere date. Amazon Prime's Reacher hit series, based on Lee Child's beloved Jack Reacher novels, took fans by surprise with its gritty action sequences, faithful adaptation, and smartly layered nods to pop culture. Among the most talked about references was a blink and you'll miss it homage to James Cameron's 1991 sci-fi masterpiece, Terminator 2: Judgment Day. It wasn't just a fun Easter egg for die-hard fans of the iconic film, but carried a deeper meaning than many viewers realized. In a recent interview, Reacher showrunner Nick Santora peeled back the curtain on how this reference made its way into the show and why it resonated with Reacher's story. The Reacher series has been praised for its faithful portrayal of Jack Reacher as a hulking, relentless force of nature, just like in the books. Played by Alan Ritchson, this iteration of Reacher is a far cry from Tom Cruise's smaller and more polished take on the character. Ritchson's Reacher is a man of few words but incredible physical prowess, much like the T-800 from Terminator 2. This connection between the two characters set the stage for a subtle but clever homage to the sci-fi classic. In the 3rd episode of Reacher, titled Spoonful, there's a moment where Reacher takes on a group of corrupt cops in a confined, dimly lit space. After easily dispatching his enemies, he walks away with an almost mechanical calm, his face showing little emotion. The scene is choreographed to evoke the stoic, unstoppable force of the T-800, particularly during the famous "I'll be back" moment from Terminator 2. As Santora explains, this wasn't a coincidence. The origins of the reference, it actually started out as a bit of a joke in the writer's room, Santora said, laughing. One of the writers pointed out that Reacher, especially in the books, is kind of like a human version of the Terminator. He just keeps coming, no matter what. You can slow him down, but you can't stop him. And that's part of his appeal. He's this larger-than-life figure who stands up for the little guy, but he does it with this unyielding determination, kind of like Schwarzenegger's T-800. The idea gained traction as the team fleshed out the fight scenes for the show. Santora and his team wanted to lean into Reacher's near-superhuman resilience without making him seem like an indestructible superhero. The Terminator 2 reference became a shorthand for how to stage certain moments. When we were planning the fight choreography, we asked ourselves, what would the Terminator do in this situation? Santora explained, and it wasn't about making Reacher robotic, but more about capturing that same sense of inevitability. He doesn't get angry or frustrated, he just gets the job done. We thought it would be a cool nod for viewers who caught on to that parallel. But it wasn't just Reacher's physicality that drew comparisons to the Terminator. Santora pointed out that both characters share an unexpected depth beneath their cold exteriors. The deeper connection. Reacher as a modern-day T-800 at first glance, Reacher and the Terminator might seem worlds apart. One is a highly trained former military policeman, while the other is a time-traveling cyborg assassin. Yet both characters exhibit a blend of brute strength and surprising humanity. In Terminator 2, the T-800 undergoes a transformation, evolving from a killing machine to a protector who, by the end of the film, even shows signs of understanding human emotions. Similarly, Reacher, despite his imposing stature and gruff demeanor, shows moments of vulnerability and empathy throughout the series. He's not just a mindless vigilante, he's driven by a moral code, seeking justice for those who can't protect themselves. Santora elaborated on this aspect of Reacher's character. He's a bit of a paradox. On the surface, he's this big, intimidating guy who can take down a room full of enemies without breaking a sweat. But underneath, there's this sense of purpose. Like the T-800, he's programmed, though in Reacher's case, it's more of a moral programming. He's driven by a sense of right and wrong, and that makes him more complex than just an action hero. The Terminator 2 reference, then, wasn't just a fun homage. It was a reflection of Reacher's duality. Just as the T-800 is more than just a machine, Reacher is more than just a fighter. He's a protector, shaped by his experiences and driven by a need to make the world a little bit better, one fight at a time. Alan Ritchson's performance, channeling Schwarzenegger, Alan Ritchson's portrayal of Reacher was key to making the Terminator 2 reference work. Santora praised Ritchson's ability to bring both the physicality and subtle emotional depth required for the role. Alan is just a beast, Santora said. There's no other way to put it. He's got the size, the strength, and the intensity to play Reacher exactly how fans of the books imagined him. But what makes his performance special is that he can also show the softer side of Reacher. There's a scene later in the season where he's talking to a young boy who's been through a lot, and you see this kindness in his eyes. That's what makes Reacher such an interesting character. He's tough, but he's not heartless. Ritchson himself has acknowledged the comparison to Schwarzenegger's T-800 in interviews, noting that he drew inspiration from the Terminator's calm, methodical demeanor. I watched Terminator 2 a few times while we were shooting, Ritchson said in one interview. There's something about the way the Terminator moves through a room completely unbothered by anything around him that I wanted to bring to Reacher. He's not flashy, he's not trying to show off, he just does what needs to be done. The legacy of Terminator 2 in modern action, the Terminator 2 reference in Reacher, is a testament to the lasting impact of Cameron's film on the action genre. Even decades after its release, the film's influence can be seen in everything from fight choreography to character development. Santora acknowledged this influence, saying, Terminator 2 is one of those movies that set the standard for how action heroes are portrayed.